Welcome to the Disc Dog Pod. I'm your host, Jeff Hill, and my co-host today is...
Kirby McIlveen.
That's right.
Not somebody else?
No. Can you believe it?
Me yet?
Wait, can you believe it? It's just
we haven't replaced each other.
I know.
Yet.
This is crazy.
Shocking.
We've had some dogs substitute in for a little bit, but...
They really didn't have a lot to say, so it's kind of a problem.
Yeah.
We need to get Flair on here. That's
they got problem. So today we're going to talk about RVs and the advantages and disadvantages of them, and how we use them, and what we think about them.
Yeah, how they play into having them at a dog sport event. And
right.
Yeah.
And I guess I'll start because I've been doing it a lot longer.
Yeah, you have a bunch.
Yeah, I've had trailers. I had 2 trailers and now two motorhomes. So I've kind of experienced a lot of it. And the trailers were quite big, and the motorhomes are much smaller. And I won't talk too much about the trailers until maybe just some little pieces to let you know why I don't have trailers anymore. But I personally don't like them. Don't really recommend them to anybody. Motorhomes are definitely, I think, the way to go. And the difference is, obviously, on a motorhome, you just jump in it and go. Whereas in a trailer, you got to hook up the trailer, and then it's enormous because you got a tow vehicle in the trailer. So I've been RVing for over 20 years now. I mean, it's kind of crazy to think that. And initially, we didn't get it with the idea to do dog sports. So that just came about that we were like, oh, well, we could go to competitions and just RV and at the competition. And like 15, 20 years ago, there weren't that many people doing that. It was more unusual then, and it's getting more common now. And I think after you hear us talk about it, if you're considering it, you're going to start realizing why you might want to have an RV, or at least consider it if you can get it, because it's pretty darn nice.
Well, I think anymore too, those that are traveling with multiple dogs, especially, a lot of dog sport folks, you have more than 2 or 3 dogs. You might have 4 or 5 dogs, and it used to be that you could go stay at the La Quinta and they kind of didn't care. There was always a back door. They'd turn their head when you walked in the door, even if there was a 2-dog limit. It was kind of like, okay, as long as you don't trash the place, we're cool with it. Right. And there weren't any cameras, all of that stuff. Right. Now there's cameras. They're a lot more strict about it. And the pet fees are almost as much as the darn rooms. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and there's more and more restrictions even in cities and parks, and just like all over the place, there's more and more restrictions related to having dogs.
I will say that I have stayed in some Airbnbs. They seem to be a little bit more flexible, but I think that depends on the Airbnb that you stay in. So that can really vary a lot.
Yeah, I bet it can. So the first most obvious advantage, I think, like you say, you just take off your dogs easily. And comfortably in the RV. And I'll give you an example of why in a regular car or in a trailer or something like that, especially if you're traveling long distances, it's much more difficult. I remember whenever I was pulling a trailer and we had crates directly behind the driver and passenger seat. So it was a pickup truck, and both of the whole bench seat back there was just crates. And I'd be driving, and every 10 minutes, dog would bark. And it would scare the heck out of me. Every 10 minutes. Could you imagine traveling cross country, a 30-hour trip, and the dogs are constantly barking and making you jump?
Can I imagine driving and the dog barking?
Right behind your ear, though, is the thing.
I can. Flair's is right behind me.
I would jump out of my skin, and I mean, it just drove me nuts. I did that for years, years dealing with that. And everybody who's ever done this sport knows about taking dogs in your car, so I don't need to say anything about that. I mean, we've all done that. But with the trailer, it's a little different because we're all packed in there with all of our stuff in the truck, and it was just terrible.
You're effectively in the car.
Yes, exactly.
Still.
Exactly.
You just move into the trailer when you're stopping to stay.
So we get a motorhome because we're just thinking this is just going to be so much more convenient. You just don't jump in it and go. And we got a smaller one. It's not really, really small like yours, which you'll talk about. So ours is a Class C and yours is a B. And basically the size is, it's confusing. It's hard to describe why they do these classes, but a Class A is the ones that look like a bus. They're huge. They're 35, 40 feet long. Oh, 45 feet long even. They're huge. And then the Class B is the small ones that just look like a big van, basically. And in a Class C is where it's like in between size.
Like the front looks like a regular car, but then it usually has like an outer shell type thing that's much larger.
So they get a chassis and they just build onto that chassis a bigger body. So it's bigger. It's always bigger than a Class B, but nowhere near a Class A. So we got our Class C, and what we love to do is in the morning, even at a local competition, we could just drive our car if we wanted to, but we could just take our it's like a day trip almost, and just take the dogs during the competition that's local and just have them in the RV, and it's just more convenient. We got the air conditioning running.
They get to hang out like it's your house.
They can hang out like they're in the house, and they know the RVs because we travel all over the place.
It's basically like their second house.
It's like their home, and they all have their spots. They sit on the seats and they watch out the windows, and they all have their own things that they do that they want to sit. I mean, it's really fun. It's just like in your house. They all got their spots, and during the event, every time, as soon as you're done with your run, you can take your dog right back away from the field into the air conditioning area. They can get water whenever they want. You don't have to wait for them to drink or whatever. The water's just out. And that's a huge advantage right there. Just doing that for local trips.
I think the air conditioning is a big advantage.
And then you can go in and enjoy the air conditioning a little bit and lay down for a few minutes between rounds and make some food, and you have your own bathroom.
It's it's definitely much easier to have the air conditioning, and I don't really eat much during the competitions, but if I do, it's nice to have the microwave or a fridge or something like that. Right,
you got everything. You need to clean something. There's a doggy accident or something happens, and you need a lot of water. You got the water there. You can clean things, and just all of that's really nice. You got some discs that got muddy or dirty or whatever when you were playing. You can take them and wash them off. Most RVs have even an outside hose that you can wash them off. Great stuff.
Yeah, it's a lot easier. It is kind of like having a little bit of a home away from home kind of thing, where you have all your utilities and things you need. And for me, it's kind of like less packing junk on the day before and the stuff leading up to it, because I kind of just have stuff that lives in there. Mm-hmm. Their kennels live in there. The Easy Up stays dog in there. Whereas like my regular car, like sometimes I would have to use it for regular car things, which means, okay, I got to take the Easy Up out. I got to take the wagon out. I got to take all that stuff out. And there wasn't a whole lot of room in my regular car for all of that stuff to just stay in there all the time. Right.
And even like small advantages, like I leave my my shoes that I compete in there. I have a waterproof set. Mm-hmm. I have a regular set, and then I can wear my real comfortable ones for when I'm driving. So my everyday shoes I wear there, and then once I get to the competition site, I change my shoes. If it starts to rain, or if it's rainy, or like some dew or whatever in the morning, I could put the waterproof ones on, and then I have gloves and hats. And if I happen to need a rain jacket, it's already there.
Right, exactly. You can kind of prepare with everything there. And in a regular car, you're probably not going to get as much storage. Now, I know some people are getting vans now and converting them and doing more things like that. But for the most part, like your smaller cars, it's much harder to pack all of that stuff in. And I mean, I can't say it enough how much advantage I think having the air conditioning is.
Oh, that's really.
And
the
you
number
can
one
run
thing.
your car and you can have that, but it's a little bit different than having it in the RV.
It's also different.
And the dogs get to hang out and stretch out.
Right. I was going to say, if you want to sit in the air conditioning, you're in you're in your tight driving seat. Who wants to sit in a driver's seat?
And sometimes the airflow is not as good in the car. So, like my Honda Element doesn't have vents in the back, so I would just be relying on the front vents. And now that the car is much older, it doesn't really circulate very well. The air is not that great, and don't even ask me how many times I've got the air conditioning replaced, and I want to strangle these guys that redo it. They're like, I could get you the cheapest one. I'm like, that's lovely. Is it the best one? Is it going to blow? Like I want to be able to like hold something in front of the air conditioning and it to blow something out of my hand. Like I want it to be hurting my face. That's how much I want it to be blowing. Like, it's more important that the air conditioning works than the car driving works. Like to me anyway, I'm like, I can be stranded somewhere as long as I've got air conditioning. Right. And I'm sure any European friends that are watching this probably laugh at our obsession with the air conditioning, but us Americans are weak and we can't handle it.
You have to have it though. Believe me, in Europe, they have not experienced the kind of heat that we get here. It's
sometimes they have some heat, but they're more tolerant.
Here. It's absolutely nothing like here. No, they don't get over 100 degrees like we do. Sometimes
I've been there when it's been 100 degrees, but I think that was a rare occurrence. But
not every day like it is here.
So however you want to view it, I'm weak and I need air conditioning, and I'm not scared to admit that I need the air conditioning. And so, my dogs are used to it too at home. They're used to cool weather and, cool inside the house. So when they have the RV, I think that's a really good way to keep it cool for them.
Yep. I have a kind of a unique advantage. And it's the shower. Even if you're out during the day, you're not even going to spend the night somewhere. There's been times that we've had to use it.
Like the Skyhounds Mudfest 2015. I'll never forget that. I was like, that was the first time I had ever traveled in an RV with you. And
then you saw the advantage that day.
It was lovely. Like, this was great because I was like, everything was muddy. Everything was awful. Like, I honestly kept going in there and rinsing off the mud off my shoes.
And we had
and the shoes were going to be wet. The problem was it didn't matter. I mean, I didn't have waterproof shoes, but even people that had like waterproof
shoes. Oh, my waterproof shoes were destroyed.
They were not waterproof
I threw
anymore.
Mine out.
They were not waterproof anymore.
I actually threw them out.
And so I just said, screw it. I mean, I'm not even going to bother with that. My shoes aren't waterproof. I'm just going to do it. And I'll just keep washing them off so that they're not a complete muddy mess, but they're going to be wet either way because that's just what that event was, a muddy, wet mess.
Yeah, and we did it.
That was a huge advantage.
We did a mud run one time, which is a muddy trail that you go through with your dog.
And there were some obstacles.
You have to go over things, under things. You have to get
It was like those mud runs. I mean, they have them for people. But they have the obstacle course. This is one that you were able to bring your dogs on, and it was with High Desert Dog Sports. So shout out April. That was a fun event.
And as soon as we were done, I mean, we were a disaster. There was mud in her hair, everything. It was in her hair. Yeah, it was. It was everywhere. It was so bad. We immediately went right in, jumped in, got showers, and
then drove home.
We knew it ahead of time, so we took an extra set of clothes and everything. Yes. And it was just so much nicer to be able to just be nice and clean. And
some of those things are those, and not just be caked with mud because I think it's like an hour drive home.
Yeah, it was pretty far. It was probably over an hour.
Yeah, it may have been with traffic. So. Yeah, that was nice.
Man.
To have.
So there's advantages that you don't even necessarily think of. Or your dog gets mud all over him. You can take him into the shower and let him hose off.
Or the outdoor shower.
There's a great one. We take our puppy with us, and something we learned to do is we put fake grass in the in the shower in the bottom for them to use as a potty.
Yeah, like if they don't have their shots and they can't go out, and you're worried about them getting sick or something.
Or you're driving down the road and they're just like, I gotta go. I mean, maybe not if they're real tiny, but as soon as they start learning where to go, they'll go back there, and you just take that little piece of, just a tiny little thing, and we could either wash it off that day or put it in something, wash it off the next day. It just depends on what the schedule is.
There's more room,
but there's just room, and there's things you can do, and it's just you come up with all these really cool things that you can. Utilize.
I mean, it becomes the more you have, like the longer you travel in one, the more advantages you start to realize.
You feel like you have to have
and now that I got one, because I'm a newer RV owner, I got one in the beginning of 2024. Now, granted, I did rent one for a few weeks in 2023 to go to all the finals, and then I really liked it, so I bought one in 2024, which is really funny because I think years prior, I told Jeff, I said, if I ever want an RV, remind me of this moment where I tell you I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. I mean, there's some negatives.
Well,
too,
there's definitely negatives, which we'll get to that. But so I bought a Class B little 21-foot RV. It's a Jayco Swift 20A, and it's little. It's easy to drive. I can fit 4 crates in there. Well, technically I could fit probably 5 or 6 like intermediate ruffling crates in there if I wanted to, but that would be pretty cramped. I could definitely fit some smaller ruffling kennels if, I wanted to take some little dogs. So I'm shockingly able to fit a lot of kennels in there for the size of it. And that's the way that it's just the floor plan that I picked. If you look online, I think it's probably the only one that you could fit that many crates into. There's another one that's Ethos Integra that's basically the same exact vehicle, just under a different name. And but that floor plan has 4 human seats in it originally, and you could take out 2 of them. It's not intended, but we did it anyway. And well, Jeff, you and Dave did it, and I watched. And then we put 4 kennels in there, so The dogs ride super comfortably in there, and then I can fit all of my, junk, the Easy Up and the wagon and other kennels and discs and all that good stuff. But I wanted to talk a little bit about maybe a trailer versus RV and like the different sizes a little bit. So one of the reasons that I got the size that I got is because I'm terrified of driving the bigger ones. I've driven his Class C. I don't love it. I get panic attacks, and like I can survive, but it's a little scary, especially if I'm driving by myself. And then I wanted something that was easy to park and fit in my driveway. My driveway is not super big, so well, now it is. We got it extended, but my driveway is not. It wasn't super big when I bought it, so I was like, "Ooh, I got to have something that fits in the driveway." And, I definitely needed a shower and a real toilet bathroom situation. So this model had that, and that's why I chose it, or a big reason I chose it. And then the other thing is that I wanted to get a drivable RV. As Jeff mentioned earlier, that was kind of an advantage over the trailer. And the reason I wanted it specifically is because I know that I'm traveling alone, and I was told by somebody else who travels in a trailer, who's a woman, she's like, there are some kind of scary things about trailers. And one of the examples is that, if you're driving late at night and you're stopping somewhere at a rest stop and you're in a tow behind trailer and you've got to get all of your dogs out from the car and you're single and alone, you're advertising that you're alone. When you get your dogs out of the car and take them back to the trailer, wherever you're parked, you have to do that, right? So if you're going to sleep in the trailer, or I guess you're going to sleep in the car, which is what's the point of having a trailer then? But, you kind of are advertising that you're by yourself. Even if you got a bunch of dogs, it's still not a good thing to advertise when you're traveling. And, sometimes you're just staying at a truck stop or something like that. So that was a big reason that I wanted a drivable, not a trailer, besides the fact that I'd be terrified to drive it. But just something to note out there, if you're somebody who travels alone, you may want to heavily consider getting a drivable one rather than a tow behind, just for that safety reason alone.
Yeah, and what I have now a Winnebago Navion, which most people know it as the View. It's a lot like what you had mentioned. They're the exact same model. A View and a Navion, the same. Back a long time ago, there were two different brands, and they ended up merging, and now they're the same. But they still make both because people had Navions back in the day, and they still want to have a Navion, or they had a View and they still want to have a View. So it's it's pretty much your standard smallish Class C, and it's on the Mercedes chassis.
It's 24 feet, right?
It's 25, almost
25.
25. It's 25 feet, and I love it because having the Mercedes chassis is so smooth. I always like
it drives itself. You say?
Yeah, it drives itself, and I say it drives like a Mercedes, which is it is a Mercedes, but it's a giant thing. You would think it drives more like a truck, but it doesn't. It drives really nice. You are going to get a little bit of sway and things like that. They even call them a skinny Winnie because they are pretty narrow, and they're kind of real top heavy, more so than other Class Cs. So when you go around bends and things like that, they do sway a little bit. But I mean, the new models are not that bad. The old ones were worser. They're worser. They were made more awful worser. But the new ones are much more stable because everything improves. It's as simple as that. They've been making these motorhomes now for over 20 years on this chassis, and the chassis has been upgraded. And now it's actually been upgraded since I got it. And I had a brand new model year, 2020. It was a brand new chassis, completely new. And now in 2025, actually, I think even last year, they're already making another new version of it that's got it has a new engine and everything. But I do like the engine that's in the one I got because it's been 20 years they've been making it, and it's rock solid. People will talk about some problems with sprinters, and all of these were with older versions and like transmissions and things like this. It has a completely different transmission. So it's just...
Yeah, you kind of waited till they got better.
I waited until it got better, and then they loaded this thing up. So it has all the safety stuff. It keeps you in the lane. It does all the self-driving stuff. It's wonderful, and it's just easy. I don't feel exhausted when I'm driving it or anything like that. So that's what I like about the one that we have. Previously, we had one on a Ford chassis, similar size, but it's way bumpier. I mean, it's like
it's a big difference.
And I didn't like that part of it. So this one is way better. As far as I'm concerned, everything's better in it. Every single thing. It's also Winnebago. We both have researched a lot of RVs. Jayco that you got, it's a really good brand. And the Winnebago that I got, it's a really good brand. Those are like high level brands that have been around a long time. Jayco was the longest running privately owned RV company like in the world, I think. But I think just a couple of years they got bought by Thor, which is junk, by the way. But they're like the parent company. They're just money, basically. But they do make RVs. There are Thor RVs, and they're awful. They're the lowest bottom. They got a lot of problems. But luckily, they haven't changed anything, and they're still making the Jayco. And because I could see it, you got a lot of really good equipment in your RV, and it's really nice. So, not everything's nice with RVs.
Yeah. I will tell you, as a first-time RV owner, there's a lot of stuff that I knew going into it because I've rented a lot of RVs, several. I mean, big ones, small ones. I stayed in both of yours and driven them both. So I felt like I had a lot of RV experience, probably more than most people.
Well, especially somebody your age.
I stayed in Class A when I did the Disconnected Canine show. So, I mean, I've been in RVs quite a bit. So I had I would say way more than most first-time RV buyers experience buying it. And I still am constantly driving him crazy, asking him questions about the RV and what to do and this and that. So just FYI.
Especially modern RVs, there's a lot more technology and things like that. And the biggest one is the energy. So you're talking about you're going to have batteries in there, you're going to have a generator in there, you're going to have solar panels in there, and you're going to have all kinds of energy efficient stuff that doesn't work like normal things. And you need to learn how they work, and you need to learn how sometimes you got to almost baby some of this stuff. But once you learn how to use it right, then everything's okay. And it actually things do become more efficient with them because they're made to be on their own and boondocking and being out in the middle of nowhere so that you don't need to rely on anybody else, but you need to learn how to do it. You can't just let the water run. You can't just turn
there's definitely
on
a
this
method
and that. You can't just leave all the lights on all the time. You're going to burn your batteries.
Don't run your hairdryer while you have the air conditioning on, or run the microwave.
Yeah, and there's
never do two things at once. Basically, is a good general rule.
You have to learn how all of it works. So that's one disadvantage. Mine and most of them, a big disadvantage is parking. Mine's not that bad.
Mine's really good. I can basically take it anywhere but a parking structure. But that's because mine's little. I got a lot less room than you do.
So for mine, I can fit in a regular space in certain states. Basically, the states have really wide parking spaces in their... and that's basically all it comes down to. If they have really wide spaces, I can get in. And especially if it's just for a short period of time. Otherwise, like in California, we do not have big spaces here. They're ridiculously tiny when you go to any shopping center or something like that. So if I need to stop somewhere, let's say we need to stop and get something at a store or whatever, or want to go to a restaurant and eat, anything like that, I have to take up 4 spaces. And it's just basically because, well, if I'm going to take up multiple spaces, I'm just going to take up the 4. So I either take up a block, like a square of 4, or I take up 4 in a row. Either way, I can get into it and be completely okay. And
you don't want to get blocked in either. Even if you can fit in somewhere, doesn't mean you truly fit in there, because when somebody comes and parks next to you or behind you, can you get out?
Right. And I always keep that in mind to make sure that I either leave room where I know someone else can't pull in, or I just do something so I know I can get out.
That's really the only issue with parking mine, is that I just have to be careful depending on where I park, like how close is the spot behind me. Because if some guy with a big truck pulls in and all the spots are taken, I'm going to struggle to get out.
And another problem with them, everything breaks on them.
All the time. It's a money pit.
Everything's cheap and junky in them. Even the nice ones. Like you have a really nice unit. Jayco and the Winnebago are like, they're not the top, like super luxury that costs millions of dollars, but they're breaking that luxury, right into that luxury.
They're the nice of the middle class.
They're like Acuras, I would say. Yeah. They're not like the Mercedes level and things like that, but they're really nice. And even them, everything's plastic. It's got to be lightweight. So if you are too rough on something, you're just going to break it. Things will just break. You're like, it just falls off. And what happened here?
And I think it was you that described it this way, that basically when you're driving, it's like a constant earthquake.
Yeah. Everything's just shaking, rattling.
It's pretty much like having all of your house amenities with a constant earthquake going on. So stuff's going to break.
Yeah. And you have to be okay with that. And if you're not, do not get an RV. If you're just like, I'm not fixing anything, I mean, you're going to end up learning that you're going to be fixing a lot of things yourself. We're doing that on yours. I do that on mine, right?
You're doing that on mine.
Because taking these things in to get serviced, you have to call up an RV place, and then you take it in there, and then I've had
Lord knows how long it will take for them to get done. 2 months,
and they haven't even looked at it yet. And there's, maintenance is a pain.
And a lot of the parts, that you get for some of these things they're specialty parts. So sometimes it could take a really long time to obtain these things. So for example, we don't know exactly what happened, but I think, the gardener was mowing or weed whacking or something, and a rock hit my back window of my RV. And the back window is not like your typical ProMaster Dodge back window. It's like the specialty Jayco RV window that has like a little mini window in it that you can open. So it's more of like a, it's more of, like you hang out in your kitchen, your little living area. Right. So it's not just your typical like van window. Well, apparently this is like some specialty window that costs an arm and a leg. And I will tell you, this irritated me to no end last year because I was getting ready to leave for all of the finals. And this happened like 4 weeks before. And I'm like, this is kind of crazy. Like, we need the window fixed in order to drive. This isn't going to be good. And so, I thought, okay, well, I'll call around. I'm sure somebody can fix it, even if they can just give me the general window without the special little, living window that you can open. I thought, okay, well, somebody will come fix it. I can't even tell you how many places I had to call that didn't call back, or I called them repeatedly and they didn't have what I had, what I needed, or they said, oh, it's going to be 8 weeks to get here. I mean, it was just a nightmare. And I'll tell you that I was so lucky that I found a guy that was, he took pity on me, and he custom made
he cut a piece of glass. Can you believe that? He custom
cut a piece of glass to put on my window because they didn't have it. And he said, you know what? I think I can do something for you. I saved his phone number, let me tell you, because, but what a pain. If not for that guy,
right, exactly.
If not for that guy, I would have been so screwed. So I really, really lucked out that I found this guy that was able to do that. And I mean, what if he hadn't? I mean, that would have sucked. So, I mean, it's just stuff like that. And you're always on edge. I mean, even last year when I went to all the finals, the generator stopped working.
Yep.
And it was right in the beginning of the trip. I took it to Cummins out back east multiple times. They couldn't seem to figure out the issue. They replaced all of these things. Did any of it fix it? No. And then, finally I went through the whole trip with no generator. And luckily I had campgrounds booked to stay at so I could plug in, and everything worked when I was plugged in. But, it was kind of a pain at the competitions. I had to turn the car air on because it was going to get too hot. Like I mentioned earlier, could we live without air conditioning? No. So we had to have air conditioning. So I turned on the car, air conditioning, and luckily that sufficed for the trip, but it would have been nice to have the generator, right?
Right.
I mean, and it was so dumb. I called around a bunch of generator places to fix my RV generator, and it was like the same thing all over again. Like call, 20 places and nobody can work on it. Nobody can do this or that. It's always a pain. And I finally found this father and son team that they said, okay, bring it over. We'll look at it. It was a stupid $30 part. It was just like, and you know what? They couldn't get it. It was like a month lead out, and those guys were really smart. They said, we have a brand new generator, the same one. They pulled it off of the generator and they sent me on my merry way. And I thank them so much. But I mean, again, it's like the same thing. Okay, so how many people did I have to call and chase around before I found those guys that, thank goodness for them, saved their number too? Yeah. Because it was like, okay, I might need you guys again, and at least you guys all know how to solve problems. But I mean, I just look at the close call parts of it. It's like, oh God, what if I didn't find those people?
Yeah.
What if I didn't find them? I'd be totally screwed.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of custom parts on there that are made by the manufacturer that you may never be able to get again. A lot of the stuff is just kind of standard.
And the warranties aren't that long.
But there's a lot of stuff. There's the air conditioner on top. There's the furnace. There's the water heater. There's the water pump. You got all of the plumbing. So I've had bazillions of leaks. Not in my new unit. The Winnebago has been great with all that stuff pretty much. But my previous one that was on the Ford chassis, nothing but leaks and problems. I think virtually every single fitting leaked. It was awful. Then there's just a lot of glass things that can break. I've had glass, different things just crack and stuff like that. Plastic things that hold maybe a door close and then they break, and then
kitchen items, the refrigerator. Don't even get me started on refrigerator problems.
You can have problems with your cooktop. I mean, think about it. It's like your house. Pretty much all the basic stuff you have in your house, but in an RV.
And a lot of it is like, okay, so if this breaks, the other thing is like, in your house, you might be able to ignore it a couple days. But remember what I said, if you're in the middle of your trip and you're driving around, everything's like an earthquake every day, all the time. Like we rented an RV once that the refrigerator door would not stay shut. I mean, we had to like bungee the freaking thing shut. And then if you didn't open it right, the damn door would fall off. And
that was a cheap brand. That was one of the, if you get a cheap brand, you're going to have a lot of those kinds of problems.
It was like, are you kidding me? I can't open the refrigerator door. But I mean, what are you going to do? Okay. Throw the refrigerator door out?
Okay. Well, what was your worst refrigerator door experience ever? It was in mine.
I know it was, and I think I blocked it from memory, but I know what you're talking about.
I'll tell you what I experienced. I was outside.
Because you got injured too, didn't you?
No, I was pumped. Well, sort of.
Oh, I remember this. That was bad. That was like what I was afraid. I had trauma from what happened in your RV. That's why I was so afraid of this rental.
So I remember. We just stopped to get gas. So I'm pumping gas outside, and I hear a freaking crash. Kaboom! And I heard her scream. And then what happened?
The door fell as I was trying to open it. It fell on me.
So the hinge that held the door up, because those doors are actually pretty heavy, it was plastic and it broke. And the entire door that had glass bottles.
All I did was open it. And there was glass and drinks because we had the Starbucks mocha drinks in the door.
We had the salsa, remember?
We had the salsa went everywhere. And mind you, the dogs were all running around because we were stopped for gas. We're going to body them.
I immediately run in and it's just, it's out of control. We have to get the dogs away from them because there's glass everywhere. And it
more shocked me than anything, but I was just like, what the hell?
But it was a pain. I mean, you can't get these parts. I had to order an entire new door.
How do you keep the door on the refrigerator? And then you got a bunch of junk inside. It's like...
So I bought the new door, or whatever I had to get. I think it was the door, the frame for the door. And because it was plastic, I found a company making a third-party piece for it that was metal, and it would reinforce it. And then it would never break again. And I did that. So I had to take the whole thing apart and put this metal thing in, replace the plastic. And because everyone was having the same problem. And you'll see that a lot with these RVs, that so many people have the same problems.
If you get an RV, look up the model of your RV on Facebook. There's probably a group for it. And everybody's asking questions and stuff in there. And that's been helpful.
The group that I'm in probably has 30 or 40 posts a day. I mean, I don't pay attention to them anymore.
No, but you can search.
But you could search and post. And if you post, you're going to have 200 comments probably. I mean, everyone's all over it. Some people just love to do the helping and stuff. You got the batteries, you got the generator.
There's so much.
There's just electrical problems that can happen.
And let's not forget about the awnings.
Oh, God.
You want to talk about other problems I've had?
I've had 3 recalls on my awning, and I have it strapped up now because I don't trust I'm never going to use the awning.
I said that too. So I rented one 2 years ago, and as I was trying to leave a gas station after gassing up, the awning just comes out all on its own. I didn't do anything. It just started coming out as I was driving away. And I'm like, I look outside, I'm like, what the hell is going on? And so it goes out. And by the time that I got out there to look at it,
back in,
and I wanted to press the button to bring it back in. No, it was windy in Missouri, and it pulled the awning over the top of the RV. And then I'm like, it broke it. So I'm like, and it was a rental. How am I going to get this out? I didn't even have time to retract it in, which was irritating because I was I looked at it and I opened the door and I was about to hit the button and over it flew. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. I was an hour from my destination. You got to be joking. But And then it's a rental. So I'm like, what do I do? It's broken and stuff. And luckily the owners of the RV, I did it through RV Share. And that's like a rental company. If you want to get one, I would highly recommend renting an RV and just trying it out to see if you like it before getting one. Try to find one that's close to the model that you like, the size that you want, which is what I did. And that really gave me a good idea of, okay, do I want this? Because especially mine, it was kind of small. So, I had some people say, I don't know, it was a little tough to stay in for a longer period. I was okay with it, but I think it just depends on the configuration and all of that. But anyway, so back to the awning. So it went over the top, and I was like, for real? So I'm just kind of standing out there dumbfounded, like, what should I do? Like, do I cut this thing off? But there's metal pieces to it too that were broken. I'm like, I don't even have like the stuff to get this off. I mean, I was by myself, and there wasn't anybody that like I knew was driving that particular way at that time. Like, I mean, I'm sure there's somebody I could have called eventually if I stood out there long enough, but I had actually 3 people luckily come to my rescue that were just strangers, good Samaritans. And this couple pulls up next to me because I'm standing out there dumbfounded trying to decide, well, okay, I guess I got to cut this thing off. Let me go see what tools I have to do that. And how the hell am I going to climb up the side and do this? Because I guess there was a ladder on the back, but that was it. Like, I was going to have to get on top of the thing. I'm like, this is not really my expertise. And so this couple pulls up and they're like, young lady, do you need some help? And I'm like, yeah, actually I do. And they were so kind. He happened to have a toolkit and a knife, and bless these people. Her husband went up there and cut the whole thing off. There was another guy that came over and was like, do you guys need anything? He had a bunch of tools and stuff. So these 2 guys basically cut the awning down and took all the pieces off, and I threw it inside the RV until I confirmed with the owner that, do you want this stuff? Because I think it's pretty trash. I think you're just going to have to replace the whole thing. And, she said, yeah, that's fine. You can get rid of it. I'm glad you're okay. Luckily, they were super, super cool, but maybe not all. I was so worried they were going to be pissed. And some might be. But anyway, they were super kind. So I really lucked out that the person I rented from was super nice. And then I so lucked out that these people came to help me. And I was like offering, I'm like, do you want a bottle of wine? Like, what do you want? And I was like, are you sure you don't want anything? Like, can I send you money? Like, can I do anything? Because I feel so bad right now. And they were a huge help. And she's like, well, I guess we could pet the dogs. I guess we'll take that. And so, of course, I brought out Linky Boy. He was so sweet. He was a little puppy then, too. So they got to meet the dogs.
I recently had somebody say to me about, like, I've calculated it. I'll be able to save this much money when I go on my trips if I get an RV. And,
that's funny.
I'm like, oh, no. And it's not even for repairs. Even if you just take all of that out of it, it's going to cost more because of your miles per gallon that you're going to get. The big motorhomes get maybe 5 miles per gallon. Seriously, that low. If you aren't familiar, a big Class A is going to get about 5, and maybe 6 if you're lucky. And my previous one got 8.5, and that was just on a Ford chassis, Class C. Wasn't 25 feet long. It was only 25 feet long, and it got 8.5 over the lifetime of it.
Mine gets about 15 to 17, which is really good. But again, mine's like a van, so.
But compared to if you just drove your car, it's nowhere near as good, right?
Right.
So that's why it'd be cheap. No matter what, it's cheaper if you don't have the RV.
With the car, you're going to have to get a hotel room.
I understand. But for me, I'll give you an idea. For me to do like one cross-country trip, it's about $2,000 in fuel.
See, now here's where I'm going to tell you that I think, because I've done a lot of flying and stuff, and the hotel and the rental car and stuff, especially if you got more than one person flying. It's definitely
not
cheaper.
I'm talking about comparing it to driving a car. That's what I was comparing it to.
I'm just saying modes of travel to get to an event.
Well, yeah,
it's cheaper than flying, especially if you've got more than one person. I prefer to drive too, but I'm just saying it's like my RV especially, because my gas mileage is just so much better than any of the big RVs. It's much cheaper to do it that way. And the campgrounds, they're expensive, but they're not as expensive as a hotel, especially if you consider the pet fees and all of that stuff. And driving a car is cheaper for sure. But you don't get the luxury of,
being able to just, you could go to a rest stop. You don't even need to get out of the RV. You can just walk back, go to the bathroom, get some food, unless you need to potty the dogs, but we don't potty them every single stop. So, that's so convenient. That's one of my favorite things, just having your home with you. And then if you're going on a long trip, I don't schedule too much of it. I schedule the destination. And then during the trip, it's just like, oh, I'm getting tired. It's about time to stop somewhere, look at a map, or there's apps, All Stays, and some other ones that you could look that'll tell you where they allow you to stay for free. You could just go to like a lot of the Walmart locations, and sometimes Cracker Barrel, some rest stops. Most rest stops will not let you stay overnight, believe it or not. They used to all let you do that.
I found a lot of truck stops are good, but I think I get away with it because I'm in a smaller van.
So it's so convenient just to be able to be like, oh, it's time to stop.
I will say, I think I do in general get away with a lot more than you do as far as like just staying the night quickly with my van than you. I
don't have any problems with I get away. Well, I just go to Walmart. So there's
most of the time I've had trouble. Like most of them say overnight.
No, most of them don't allow it. But if you look along your trip, there's like 800 Walmart locations.
That's true.
20 of them are going to work.
There's a lot of options.
Casinos are also great, and every single one of them will let you do it that I know of because they don't care. Their lots are enormous. They just want you to come in. Start gambling. And most casinos will say free, overnight parking for truckers and RVers and stuff. So we don't even check with them. We just, because they're usually like kind of busy and stuff anyways. But in your RV, you turn the lights off, and we usually have like a white noise machine that drowns out any sounds. And people can do whatever the heck they want to out there, and I just fall asleep.
So is there any other disadvantages that you can think of having?
No, but I guess I want to say don't get too discouraged by it, but don't expect it to just be cheaper than driving your car around and going to hotels. I mean, for the most part, that's not going to be the case.
Yeah.
It's going to add a lot of conveniences and a lot of inconveniences.
Yeah.
But don't be scared away from it unless you're someone who's like, I'm never going to I can't fix things. I don't want to fix them. I don't want to be bothered with it. Don't get an RV. Don't get a trailer. Don't get anything like that.
I would definitely say it's helpful to have like somebody that has one, or be well connected and online with people that know about them, because you will need somebody at some point to answer a question for you, and it's not going to be a matter of calling the wherever you got your RV or whoever makes your RV. That's going to be too complicated. I mean, some of this stuff just isn't in the instruction manual.
The power systems, for example, are nothing like inside your house. So using power for your air conditioner or anything else, or lights and everything else, it's completely different. A lot of them have onboard propane. Yours and mine both do, and they use that for heating, and sometimes they even use that for the refrigerator. I know it sounds weird, but you could actually cool a refrigerator down using propane. It's a crazy kind of situation. But yeah, that gives you an idea. If you're not familiar with RVs, you could use propane to make your refrigerator or freezer cold. So they are different animals. And if you're not familiar, if you're not mechanically inclined, electrically inclined, it's going to be more challenging for you. It just will be. It's not something where you just go in and don't have to worry about anything. It's just not the case.
Yeah.
It's kind of like buying a 1982 Cutlass Sierra car. As soon as you get it home, you might not even make it home. It's probably already going to break down. Like, just expect things to go bad, but it's not constant or anything like that. My biggest problems have been tires, actually. The biggest complaint is tires constantly blowing out on them, even when I'm maintaining them and rotating them, and I rotate them myself. And even when I do all that, they just blow up. So, and that's a pain. And whenever you do that, you're stranded, and it's not easy.
Speaking of tires, maybe you should just say a couple reasons why you don't have trailers anymore.
Trailer tires in particular, they're cheap. All of them. They're junk. They're absolute junk. Just walk by any kind of trailer, unless it's some kind of luxury thing, just any normal travel trailer or fifth wheel, and look at the brand of tire. I can almost guarantee you it's something you have never heard of. Whereas a motorhome, you're going to have Michelin and Bridgestone and Cooper and all those kinds of brands. And on these trailer tires, they are weird names. Tunaki and Fulu and trailer tire. I mean, seriously, I've seen all these kinds of things, and they're junk. They're absolute junk, and they will blow out. You driving down the road, they blow out all the freaking time. I've actually never had a blowout on the motorhomes. It's more like just like the tread starts to come off, or like they just have like a small hole and then they leak out. But I haven't actually had a real blowout from what I can remember, maybe once or something. But the trailer, both
I guess one good thing is if you have the trailer, you can drive off from it and leave it.
Yeah, you can leave it if you needed to, I guess. But I never did. I just waited until someone would come. And then most trailers do not have generators, which means you do not have air conditioner unless you're plugged in at a campground.
You have to have a separate generator.
You have to have a separate generator for air conditioning. All motorhomes that I can think
Virtually.
of, I mean 99%, all of them will have a generator so that you can run the air conditioner. But trailers, you have to get the high end, like real luxury, huge ones that are going to cost honestly as much or more than a motorhome. They're going to be a lot bigger probably, but you have to get like a fifth wheel, and then you need a fifth wheel truck, which I mean, those things are gigantic with the dual wheels and everything.
You need a specific car to pull it potentially, depending on what car you already have.
So I suggest motorhomes. I've had trailers, so I'm familiar with them. I know them. They're a pain. I highly suggest not having a trailer. That's all I can say about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just being honest. Don't do it unless there's some really great reason. A lot of people get trailers and they just put them somewhere and let them sit like at a lake or something like that, and then they go and it's like their summer place to go to.
That's a little bit of a different thing. If you're planning on leaving it somewhere, I think in the scope of dog events, it's probably easier to have a motorhome.
Especially like a day event. You're just going to go on a Saturday, go to an event. Mm-hmm. You can't take a trailer. You're not going to, for the most part, that's going to be frowned upon if you go to the park with a trailer and take up 30
It's just going to be difficult logistically for sure. I mean, that was another reasoning for me getting the very small van, is that it's something that I can use all the time. In fact, I use it daily. I drive it more than I drive my regular car. In fact, I mean, when I take the dogs to the park, that's what I take them in. Is my RV, which is so small that it's like, why not use it? So I definitely get good use out of the small RV. I anytime there's a dog in the car, I pretty much am taking that. So
that's a really good point. If you get one, use it. Use it like I do. Every single competition that I go to, I get to take my motorhome.
I think that's another thing that's helpful too, is that if you're using it all the time, yes, some stuff's more likely to break, but you're at least aware of it.
and a lot of it actually will break less often because it's getting used. Things are better. Like the generator, for example, the generator needs to be used, and people don't know that. Imagine an air conditioning unit sitting there for months at a time, not being used. Stuff starts seizing up on it. If you're using it regularly, especially locally, you're going to get just more use out of it, which is better. And then you're going to know if something goes bad. And a lot of things won't go bad because they're getting used. Seals are like on the generator, all the seals inside are getting lubricated and functioning. And you might see something start to degrade instead of just going out there and it's broke. So use it, because you don't want to spend money on something like that, some god awful ugly. They're all ugly, they're all gigantic, and have one of these things and not use it. I don't get it. So many people get them and they take it out once or twice a year. Like, you got yours, hardly had any miles on it. That's how they are.
Yeah. So I will say, if the money piece is preventing you from getting an RV, mine I bought, technically it was used, but it was very low miles. I mean, a lot of times, like if you want to buy a used car, this is kind of the same way to do it, is get one that's, a newer year. Mine's a 2022 and I bought it in 2024 and it only had 17,000 miles on it, but they were, trying to get rid of it. So it definitely slashed the retail price like by a big amount. So that was a huge,
even more than a car would.
Savings. Yes, exactly. I mean, RVs, just like cars, they lose money as soon as you drive off the lot.
And RVs lose it. It's really bad. Like, they lose.
It is.
I hear so many people too say, as an investment, like,
it's not an investment.
It's a money pit. And whenever you go to sell it. If you've used it, it's not going to be worth anything. No. If you didn't use it, you just wasted a whole lot of money.
Yes, exactly.
Because you could buy let's say a brand new $250,000 motorhome, and you go to sell it, and it's only got 20,000 miles in 10 years. It's going to be worth like 30 grand. 40 grand, maybe 50.
Which is great if you want to buy an RV. It's not so great if you want to sell it, but if you want to buy one, it definitely makes it much cheaper than, trying to buy a brand new one. So just putting that out there as an option. I mean, that's a good way to save money, because retail price on some of these are absolutely crazy.
They are. I mean, they go over millions for.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Like the one you stayed in is probably a couple $1 million in that summer.
Oh, the retail price on mine now, a new model, I think I saw it was over 200. I was like, he's got to be joking.
Mine's like 270 now or something like that.
Wow.
I did buy it new, but whenever I bought it, the retail price was like 160, and then I got it just quite a bit less than that. Ooh, here's a good rule of thumb. You can usually expect to get at least 25% off whatever they're asking. Something like that. It depends. But a new unit, used is not the same. But a new unit, you can get 25 to 30% off typically, but not always. During COVID, you couldn't buy it.
Oh yeah,
sticker price.
Well, and everybody was wanting them, and the demand was high. And by the time that I bought mine, the demand was going way, way back down, because everybody went back to work. There was no more, COVID wasn't as prevalent and all of that. So yeah, I mean, buying in 2020, I wouldn't have wanted to buy one then.
So I got lucky because I bought mine in 19, and it was right before COVID hit, and the market wasn't like good, it wasn't like real bad. It was just I think it was like okay. Some of the places were struggling a little bit, so it's probably below average. So I was able to get a pretty good price, and they hadn't been increasing the price. The year after I got mine, the 2020, well, it was a 2020 model, but I got it in 19. The next year, whenever COVID was full swing, the prices just went through the roof.
Yeah.
And the quality went down.
And another thing I learned from buying an RV was that the loan is more like a house.
Like a house.
It's like 20 years usually. So they really try to make it so your monthly payment is really, really low.
And your insurance is more like a house. It's not like a car insurance. Like if you buy a brand new expensive motorhome, it's nowhere near as buying like if you bought a car. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. So there are some interesting benefits to it that, if the money piece is the big concern for not getting one, you might want to look into these things, and that might make it more possible for you.
I don't remember the exact number, but I want to say something like $250 a year for full coverage on my motorhome. And it's full replacement. What that means is like your house. Like if something happens to your house, God forbid, something really bad and the whole thing needs replaced, you get the full value. Your house doesn't go down in value every year. So whatever I paid for it, if someone stole it, for example, I get the full value of the motorhome, not the derated value of like if you have your car stolen. And of course, you just basically get ripped off. You pay $10,000 for your car, and they say, well, now it's only worth $2,000, or whatever the number is. You just completely get taken, and you can't buy a new car for whatever they give you. But on a motorhome, you get full value as long as you get that coverage, which, I mean, it's like $50 a year or something just to get that extra coverage, and it's so worth it because someone steals it, I get the whole thing replaced at full value. Just go out and buy another one.
Yeah, right. Do the same thing all over again.
Hopefully
get ready to get back into the money pit all over again. So is there anything else that you wanted to add?
No, I say enjoy your motorhomes. And if you have any questions, ask us, because we have a lot of experience with them.
Yeah,
both of us.
And there's all different kinds, different sizes. If it's something you're interested in, I think it's worth checking out. So many different options now that it's crazy. And, for me, I've really enjoyed it. My dogs really like it. So, I mean, as somebody who's more of a recent owner, recently bought one, I like it a lot. I think it was totally worth it. So, yeah.
And this has been the Disc Dog
thanks
Pod.
For watching.
Thanks for tuning in.
This has been the Disc Dog Pod. Thanks for watching. We can't even do our outro right.